Hey Capricorn, I hope you're doing well. Um, as I've been sitting here shuffling the cards, I've been trying to connect with any images that will come through, and actually the first thing that I saw was the Hebrew letter Lamed, which I think is the 12th letter in the Hebrew alphabet. It's the really tall one that looks, I'm going to try to draw this from your perspective, like it's like a Vav and then like a Kaf, like a little curve with a little tower on top of it. It's I think the tallest of the Hebrew letters, and I think it's supposed to represent like a shepherd's staff, or I think there's a word for what that is. I can't think of it right now, but it's the staff that a shepherd uses to keep the flock in order, to kind of direct it and herd it. Which, and I think in Hebraic thought is supposed to represent like a spiritual father or somebody in a position of authority that helps to guide the flock, so to speak, towards God, towards truth, towards scripture. So I'm not sure if you're like interfacing with that archetype in some fashion. Like, I'm curious to see if the Hierophant is going to come out in the reading, because that's kind of what I would picture as the figurehead for the sacred shepherd. And then I was also seeing like a pointed leather boot, like almost like a medieval boot. It was a little strange, but I was like seeing it from the point of reference of like being on the ground next to the boot, like it's like in front of my face, and in the background there's like a theme park entrance. Not sure exactly what that means. Maybe something carnival related. I've been trying to kind of digest what that imagery could mean. Maybe as we go further along in the reading, it'll come out. But yeah, like a medieval boot with the theme park in the background. Maybe you're joining the circus. Not that that's anything like the imagery that I got. Okay, I think we're done. All right, so first card is going to be your significator card, and I'm going to set that right over here next to our good friend Henry. He's going to keep an eye on you. This will kind of help set the tone for the reading and show me where you're standing in the midst of everything. So we have the Four of Wands. It's a pretty positive card. This is like establishing foundations in your life, whether with projects, like some sort of... it could even be like the card of marriage, like getting married or something. But it's like this idea of establishing a stable foundation from which your passions can kind of flourish and grow. It's like setting, it's like the frame of the house that's going to support your life, if that makes sense. Like whenever I see this card, yeah, marriage comes to mind, but also this idea of like new construction, where like the frame is up for the house, and as you contemplate that image, obviously the inclination is towards the completion of that house. So that's something that's being worked towards with this Four of Wands energy. But the skeleton is in place, the frame is in place, and now it can only grow from this point. But we'll get some more specifics as the reading comes by, and I'll try to make some connections with the card that come out as I can. But next card is going to be the Six of Pentacles. There we go. This can be you in some sort of mercantile environment where either you're the seller or the buyer, or potentially somebody who's lending money, looking for a loan of your own in some way, maybe to build this house that the Four of Wands is representing. But it's very fiscally oriented. Pentacles, earth element, very material, but also with the contents of the card. Like you have the merchant who's dispensing coins to the needy, to the beggars, but he's trying to be very fair and balanced about it. Could be a boss dispensing paychecks Obviously, you can see that this figure is well dressed and wearing the finest of silks, and then you have the paupers kneeling before him, stretching their hands out like beggars as he dispenses things with balance. Obviously, he's got the scales there, but it's like clearly things aren't equivalent based on how he's presented and based on how the beggars are presented. Like there's a clear distinction in class, a clear distinction in I was going to say fiscal acuity. I don't think that's the phrase I was looking for. Somebody's better with money. Whatever that means. But it could represent you being in a position on either end of this scenario, whether the pauper begging for money from some perceived authority, from the shepherd maybe. Like I don't know if that's a connection there. I'm kind of being drawn towards his boot. That's almost kind of like the boot that I was seeing in the image earlier with the theme park. And I'm seeing somebody like dressing up as like a fool, like a jester. I don't know if you're taking on like a role that is in some sense demeaning or diminishing to your capabilities. Like it doesn't take your skills or your gifts into account. And in a way it's kind of demeaning. And you're taking this role on because it's providing you with the material support that you need, like a paycheck that you need. Like it's not where you want to be. It's not it's not you at your best. We'll leave it at that. But it is providing a livelihood for you. And maybe you're putting up with it because it's going towards whatever this Four of Wands could represent, like this new life that you're building for yourself, and you're trying to support your family. And so maybe even taking on additional work, an additional job, I'm seeing like sign spinning, like something that culturally we tend to look down upon as a job, but it's still providing something for you and you're making the most of it. Our challenge card is the Two of Swords. And every time I see this card, not every time, but this time in particular, I hear that song, Should I Stay or Should I Go? No, you know. It could, if the demeaning job scenario that I was mentioning is relevant to you, this could represent like, should I allow my pride to get in the way of what I'm working towards? Like, should I give this job up because it isn't suitable for me, or should I put up with it because it is providing what I need at this particular moment in time? But it's like, are there other opportunities to turn towards instead of this position? Maybe that's something that you're kind of trying to figure out. Like, you've taken on this position temporarily, or you've taken on this project temporarily as a means of bettering or maintaining rather your current lifestyle. But it's like, I feel like you're looking elsewhere. Like you're looking at other opportunities, or trying to find out if there are other opportunities. You have like one foot in the door and one foot out. Like you're aware that this is a temporary situation in some fashion. In the past, we have Justice, Libra. We have the scales showing up twice here. I feel like in the past, you were maybe in a position that was more suited for what you're capable of, maybe what your education entails or your experience entails. Maybe even in a position of authority, like you were the one dispensing. if we're calling to the Six of Coins, like you were the person dressed in the fine silks, and maybe the roles have shifted, the roles have switched as a result of calls made by higher ups, maybe like some sort of legislation or some sort of decision was made that had company-wide effects. Like I'm being really fixated on this whole career imagery, but obviously if that doesn't resonate with you, maybe try to see what you can connect with in the archetype of it, because it's just the image that's presenting itself to me now. But with the Justice card, it's like these decisions were made, and it wasn't like anything personal, but it had implications for you. Like maybe you lost your job, or you were placed on equal footing with lower downs somehow. Like your position was lowered, your position was diminished. You received even judgment for something that you may have done, whether that was giving you a promotion so that you could end up being this merchant dressed in fine silks, or a demotion, or having lost the position altogether. Like I feel like in some way there was this decision, like damning decision, that was made in the past that shaped where you are now. Like you're receiving the results of that the judge's decision in the past. And it's like whatever it was is kind of the determining factor as to whether or not you're him or you're one of these two figures down here begging for money. And if you're in that position of authority, it's almost like maybe you're contemplating the inequalities in some form. I don't want to go too deep into that because it'll get a little philosophical, and I'll just kind of let you try to make the connections yourself. For the future card, we have Judgment. So it's like things that were deemed as lost, things that were deemed as hidden, dead, are being called back up to the surface again to be reckoned with, so that the entire picture can be examined. Interesting. I could even see this as being potentially like a whistleblower moment, like somebody, potentially you, pointing out inequalities that are present in a work environment or in some sort of corporate body. Corporate just means, I just said body twice basically, but like any sort of community that's oriented around like fiscal or resource dispensation. And then like the Judgment card is like after the whistleblower has said, hey, these people are pretending to be a nonprofit organization that's helping the homeless, and they're handing out pennies to them while they're pocketing the rest of the money themselves. And then you can see their nice Porsches and their $1 million homes. Like something isn't right here. And then Judgment comes, and it's like, oh, everything is made clear. Oh yeah, we can see all the inequalities. We can see even the broken laws, or the broken logic, the broken morality that was in place to justify this manifestation that you're contending with. For the crown of the reading, we have the Nine of Wands, and this is something that's kind of motivating your forward movement, your decisions. It's something that you're kind of aiming towards. And with the Nine of Wands, it's like, how do I word this? I guess just to continue on the archetype of the whistleblower that I was talking about. Obviously, try to reshape this in your own interpretation as you can. But this is like the whistleblower emerging from the building, from the company building, and knowing that the company itself is doomed, and whatever sacrifices were made by this person in order to bring this company down because of the wrongs it's committed, like they were worth it. Like the sacrifices, the wounds that you've taken upon yourself, like knowing that what you've given up to serve justice in some way was worthwhile, even if you're suffering. Like it's stopped the suffering on a larger scale. Like there's a selfless aspect to what's been done, or to the goals that you have in mind. Like maybe leaving a company after clearly articulating the problems within the company to the superiors, and then maybe reporting them in some fashion, or leaving a review on an employment website. Like it's a very specific, but like making sure that nobody else has to suffer the way that you did, or the way that somebody that you knew did. Hopefully this is making sense, because these are like almost really specific scenarios that I'm connecting with. At the base of the reading, we have the 8 of Coins, and this is wanting to be recognized for the work that you've done, wanting to be recognized for the care and the attention that you've put into the craft. Whether that's like having to do with your career, or whether that's having to do with rectifying whatever this situation that I'm connecting with is. You know, this is like your innermost motivations. These are your subconscious motivations. Like you want people to know that maybe you were the whistleblower for this company, and that you brought it down because there was so much wrong with it, and you're hoping that that helps to catapult you into a better career. And I'm saying career just because it's the coins and it's more material oriented, you know, kind of how we've established. But it's like wanting to be recognized as a master of the craft in some form, and creating something, leaving a legacy behind that not only allows you to support yourself, but provides something practical or something beautiful for other people. You know, I could even see this as like, I'm going into like the homeless shelter imagery now, of like this 8 of Coins is like somebody working in the kitchen making the meals that's feeding these homeless individuals. Like wanting to provide something through care and through attention, creating something that provides for others. Like there's a lot of selfless energy in this. Now, obviously that's not going to resonate with everybody, but take it as you will. For your inner motivations, we have the 7 of Swords, or inner influences, I should say, which can potentially be like an energy of like sneaking around and being secretive, tapping into hidden information, even being a little playful at times. But it's like there's something very brazen about the secretiveness. Like this potential thief is like walking away with this secret information, with these swords, with these ideas, or with these weapons or tools or implements that under the cover of the sun, like in broad daylight, like there's no secrecy, like it's happening in the open. And it could be that whether it's, since it is like internal influences, I'm almost seeing like, yeah, like it's connecting back to that whistleblower imagery, like it's happening right under their noses. Like taking their tax returns, taking like, I'm seeing like papers, like documents, like harvesting their paper trail, so to speak, and covering your own tracks in the process, making sure that your own movements aren't going to damn you in some way, like they're not going to be used against you once you get this information out, like trying to make sure that you're protected in that process. This could also be like a representation of like a dual-mindedness, like you're of two minds about something. Like maybe part of you is in agreement with something and another part of you is trying to leave. And that kind of connects back to this Two of Swords energy that we connected with earlier. But it's like the feet are moving in one direction, but he's still looking back. This internal conflict about a certain situation, like should I do this or should I not, should I stay or should I go, kind of energy. Should I be the whistleblower or should I keep to myself, keep my mouth shut, and keep working and getting this done, and letting judgment be rendered upon them from external sources, like letting their own actions dig their own grave. But it's like you have access to information that can be potentially devastating for them. And maybe you're like conflicted about whether or not you should do something with the information, or whether or not you should just continue with your head down and not leap into the battlefield and make the sacrifices that are going to be necessary to do what what may lead to this judgment scenario. For the external influences, we have the Ten of Cups. So it's like everything is hunky-dory outside, like everybody around seems happy and content and fulfilled, and they feel emotionally well and happy about the way things are playing out. It's like maybe this is, if not a warning, it could be like sorry, I just got a message. This could be like a point of frustration for you if you're still like connecting with the Seven of Swords. Like, should I just be happy with where I am? Should I just be happy with the way things are because everybody else seems to be okay? Is there something wrong with me? Should I learn to connect with this Ten of Cups energy myself instead of trying to sneak around and find something wrong with the situation? Like maybe there isn't inequality in a situation. Like maybe what is being perceived is actually something else. Like, or maybe this is just appearances. Like there's this, it could be like the company that says, oh, we're a family, but they're actually like basically slave masters. For lack of a better way to put it. So it's like maybe you're like putting on a face, like you're smiling and pretending to be happy and pretending to kind of settle into the family dynamic while being this Seven of Swords right here, kind of sneaking around, gathering information, gathering data, covering your tracks, making sure that you know the truth about what's actually going on beneath the surface, and not just accepting things at face value. I feel like I want to make a connection to that Four of Wands right there, but we'll come back to it in a second. For your hopes and fears, we have the Three of Cups. This is like the card of like celebration, like feeling appreciated, feeling content, feeling socially, I heard socially available, but that's not quite what I was going for. Like feeling like you're in a space where the dynamic is very supportive, mutually supportive. You guys are having fun, having a good time. And given that this is in the hopes and fears, like maybe that's something that you're hoping for, but the antithesis of it is something that you're fearing. Like you're fearing ostracization if you maybe move forward with something, if you render judgment to a specific situation. Like I'm getting really fixated on this whole whistleblower thing, and I'm trying to pull out of it a little bit to generalize the reading a little more, but it's really calling to me. And I'm also like, I'm seeing this Three of Cups as like the theme park, like maybe going out for entertainment with friends to kind of help take your mind off of something. But again, it's like, is it just outward appearances? I don't know why I'm getting so fixated on that. Like, it's like, it looks all hunky-dory, it looks nice, but it's like there's a question mark there. And I'm almost wondering, I'm going to pull another card for that. We have the Seven of Cups. So this is like being overwhelmed with different potentials. Like having visions of what could be going on and having them so varied that you don't know what to believe. Like maybe this is part of the problem. Like part of the conflict of, should I stay? Should I go? Should I be happy with the situation? Should I question it? Should I find all the faults? Like I feel like you're seeing all the potentials and it's just kind of overwhelming you and acting as an obstacle for you. Like it's paralyzing your decision making, which is kind of why this Two of Swords right here is in your position of conflict. Conflict in the position of conflict. Who would have thought? But it's like, yeah, trying to find everything that's wrong with the situation while also being able to see all the good that's right, and then just being so confused and overwhelmed by the plethora of different potential experiences that you're connecting with. These different potential realities. Maybe part of the message with these cards is like to connect with these Ten of Cups people. Like if you're in an environment where you're surrounded by very happy individuals who seem very fulfilled, who seem very comfortable, who aren't really questioning things, maybe kind of connect with them and try to see where their headspace is at, why it is that they feel the way that they feel, why it is that the appearance of their experience is so positive, and maybe try to learn something from them, try to figure out what it is about their approach leads them to the conclusions that they've come to, rather than the conclusions that you're unable to come to. For the final outcome, we have the Two of Coins. So still kind of in a very indecisive mode of energy. It's like you have a vision with this Four of Wands. Like you're building foundations of something. Some new chapter in your life is beginning. You know, there's this opportunity to work on and work upon the framework that you've been working towards. And it's like if you're in a situation that's kind of unnatural for you to be in, weigh it against this. Like, is it helping you to achieve this? Is it helping you to build upon this? If the answer is yes, then it might be something worth sticking with, at least for the time being. even if there are faults in the situation that you can perceive, like maybe, I hate this phrase, but like turning the other cheek in some way. Because if it's the best that you can do right now, then it's the best you can do right now. And if it's helping with this, then it can't be that terrible. Unless it's like actually terrible. Like then in that case, I feel like you already know the correct decision to make in that situation. But like, take this into consideration with your decision making. Whatever it is that you're building towards, whatever it is that you're saving for. Try to keep an eye on the bigger picture, the longer term, and don't get so caught up in the everyday mumbo jumbo, because there's going to be so many different details, and all those details are going to be contradicting each other with how, contradicting the experience of the situation in every which way, and it's going to be confusing. So just like try not to get lost in that. Focus on the big picture. Focus on where you're trying to get to, and weigh your decision making out appropriately with that in mind. I feel like I want to mention too, the Seven of Swords right here. I'm thinking of somebody who's like already made the decision to quit a job. Like if we're sticking with this situation, somebody who's already made the decision to quit the job but hasn't told anybody, and is kind of walking around, with that knowledge and kind of feeling a little sneaky and mischievous about it. Like situations that would have otherwise made this person angry in the workplace, it's like, I'm not going to be here much longer, so this doesn't matter. I'm not going to get angry about this, and just kind of having fun with it, and reconnecting with this Ten of Cups energy here that is inherent in the environment around you in some way. So yeah, I think I'm going to leave it at that. Hopefully this resonates in some way. Obviously, try not to get too lost in the specifics of the scenarios that I was connecting with. Try to see if there's ways that you can maybe abstract the archetype a little bit to make it a little more relevant to your particular experience. But if not, I mean, that's fine too. It's not going to be for everyone. And yeah, I hope you guys are doing well. I'm wishing you the best. I am letting everybody know that I'm adhering to a monthly reading schedule for the 12 zodiac signs. This round of readings is not one of the monthlies. It's actually an experiment for the bi-weeklies, but schedule got a little thwarted, so it's coming out late and kind of messed up, so I don't know if I'll repeat that in the future. We'll see what happens, but at the very least, got those monthly readings coming out as soon as I've got this round of readings done. So wishing you all the best. Take care of yourselves. Make good choices. I feel like you will. You got this. Bye, Capricorn.